Hello, and welcome to LDS Loudmouth. I'm Kim.
I'm Jane.
And this is where we are learning to speak up
And reach out.
making our world a better place.
Because each one of us is a part of it. Since this is our very first episode, we thought it would be a good idea to introduce ourselves. Kim, will you please go first?
Of course. I wanted to kind of go over who I am as a church member and where do I come from. And so I'll just kind of lead with that. I'm a lifelong member. My mom was a convert to the church at 14 after her parents' divorce, and her dad died when she was 16 from a heart attack. She came from an abusive home and was neglected and left alone most of her childhood. She graduated from BYU and went on a mission to Italy when she was 33 and got married to my dad soon after her return home. My dad, on the other hand, comes from Danish pioneer stock on his mom's side and served a mission in Sydney, Australia in the 1970s. I'm the oldest of 3 kids. I am 42 years old and have 2 younger brothers who are married with kids in the church. We grew up in Southern and Central California, and all 3 of us served missions at overlapping times while my mom was waiting for a liver transplant and dying. I went to the Georgia Atlanta North Mission in the years of 2004 to 2005. My mom got her transplant 6 months before my return home, and a year after my return, my parents divorced. My dad had found someone else in anticipation of my mom's death and was forced to choose between the 2 when she lived. This was devastating to my mom. While the divorce of my parents was going on, I wasn't super accepted in the dating scene of my singles ward, nor did I fit in very much in general. So I dated non-members, met and married my current husband, and we have 3 kids together, 2 boys and a girl, ages 11, 8, and 6. While in my 20s, I quietly came to grips with my bisexuality. I kissed the girl and I liked it, but didn't pursue things beyond that. I have let select people in on this fact throughout the years. My hubs has always known, but I came out publicly in August of 2022. My mom passed away from COVID February 2021 after only living with us in our New Jersey home for 5 months. That brought with it many complications and realization of faith and family-wise I'm still trying to come to terms with and sort out those things within myself. I hope that my perspective is different and relatable enough to identify with to some extent and help give others the courage to not only speak up, but to take action as a voice for good inside and outside the church. All right, Jane, so now's your turn. What brought you here and who are you?
Well, I'm Jane. I was born and raised by parents who were also born and raised by Mormons, pioneer stock. They met at BYU. I'm the second of 6 kids, 4 girls and 2 boys in that order. I've lived all over the United States growing up. We moved 4 times before I actually started school. I went to 4 different elementary schools and 2 different high schools because I moved my senior year. I attended BYU like my parents did. I started majoring in Spanish, but then changed to computer science, where it turned out I had some natural talent. Because I was at BYU a long time, I finally decided at the age of 25 to go through the temple on my own. After I finally graduated, I moved east. I met a new convert, got married 2 years later in the Washington, D.C. temple. I moved around with him for 10 years for him to get a master's in California, then another master's in Texas, and then back to New Jersey for his PhD. We got divorced after 29 years of marriage. I am the mother of 3, grandmother of 3. I am very much like my dad, who was a voracious reader and loved learning. So did my mom. My dad loved to teach and share things that he was passionate about, using positivity and humor whenever possible. For my whole adult life, I've had a daily goal to make at least one person laugh genuinely, and I usually meet that goal.
Yes, you do.
I had the typical Mormon upbringing. I went to primary, MIA, Institute, BYU, married in the temple, but like I said, divorced in a New Jersey court. I raised 3 children in the church. I worked as a computer programmer during most of that time, although I did take a break to homeschool my 2 younger ones, and then went back to computer programming after my divorce. My husband stopped going to church when my youngest one was 8. Over the last few years since my divorce, my 2 youngest have come out as biromantic, non-binary, and then a little bit later as trans. Obviously, the church's stance on LGBTQ+ members has been very difficult for me as I watched it push 2 of my very beloved children away, not to mention the problems my queer adult friends have staying in the church. My other big church thing is Heavenly Mother. As I grew up, I always knew about Heavenly Mother. I grew up with all of the things that people believed back then, even though now a lot of that has been debunked. As an adult, I got very involved in some Renaissance fairs where I met a lot of pagans, and I loved the fact that their worships usually included goddesses as well as gods in their worship, and I go, hey, yeah, me too, kind of. As our articles of faith say, we want to worship the way we want to, let others worship how, where, or what they may. And I've always gotten along with everybody of all religions. In fact, right now I share a house with a Jewish friend of mine. And the other article of faith says, if there's anything virtuous, lovely, of good report, or praiseworthy, we seek after these things. I feel that very strongly. In the last 10 years, I have studied more about all kinds of different spiritual paths and have been drawn to incorporate some of the aspects of them into my spiritual journey. The tipping point came in April 2022 General Conference, the women's meeting, where Elder Redland gave a talk where he said, quote, very little has been revealed about Mother in Heaven, but what we do know is summarized in a gospel topic essay found in our gospel library application. Once you have read what is there, you will know everything that I know about the subject. I wish I knew more. I suddenly got so angry. If anybody in the church was able to ask and receive revelation about any gospel topic, it's one of the 12 apostles. If he truly wanted to know more, he would have asked and received. So, of course, I've been on a Heavenly Mother journey, reading books both from inside and outside of the LDS tradition, listening to podcasts about her, and getting artwork
You're welcome.
that depicts various artists' renditions of her, learning how to see references to her in all of our scriptures, things like that. I refer to Heavenly Mother in lessons that I teach now all the time in Relief Society or Sunday School, and I use the words Heavenly Parents and the pronouns they and them to refer to God as much as possible. I've also noticed lately there's other people in the Word that are starting to do it too. So here I am, a tall, I'm 5'11", 67-year-old computer programmer by day, knitter and binger of murder mysteries and stand-up comedy by night, queer ally, mother, and friend all day long, and a Heavenly Mother advocate and seeker of virtuous, good report, and praiseworthy things to share with everyone around me in positive, hopefully sometimes funny ways.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the theme and focus for our podcast.
Sure, let's do that.
All right. As I said before, our theme is learning to speak up and reach out, making our world a better place, because each one of us is part of it. I take spiritual inspiration and inspiration in general from podcasts such as At Last She Said It, where women learn to speak up, and Latter-day Struggles, where members learn to reclaim personal authority, part of which I didn't even know I had.
Yeah, I understand. I listen to a lot of the same podcasts you do, obviously, and a couple of extra ones that I keep trying you to try. But the thing is that I've had many spiritual experiences throughout my life that have given me a very strong foundation for my spiritual growth. And so as I'm moving forward and trying to become more like Christ, I can follow the spirit that I know I have felt before and know when I'm stepping off track for me. Because if we're supposed to become like Christ and like Heavenly Father and Mother, which they all say we do, then we need to all become more confident in our spiritual talents and strengths. I mean, after all, our church was founded and the gospel was restored by people who spoke up and asked questions of God when there was something that they didn't quite understand or agree with. Even Christ, in his day, the church had so many things from civilization around them added into the church that were just not useful anymore. So I think that there are many truths in the LDS faith that we teach about the gospel of Christ that other churches may not have, but there are others that have been added in from the society around us that are hurtful, and people have been turned off or pushed out because of those harmful teachings that have been added. And let's face it, I'm 67 years old.
Yeah.
The priesthood lifting for all races happened on my 21st birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. That was a great birthday. There have been so many other changes. I mean, even recently, they've changed garments again. Yay. And the temple ceremonies have been adjusted and changed. And it's not that the doctrine or the principles behind these things have changed, but things have been changed to fit society as we are living now. And so it is my goal to add our voices to the growing number of all these podcasts, which we love, who are working to voice the issues that are concerned of people now, what they're doing to the people around us, so that things can change for the better.
Definitely. I totally agree with you, Jane. If you're ready to actually do something about it, you've come to the right place. We would like to encourage you to stretch yourself, whether that means being brave enough to speak up in the moment, write letters to people to help you and others be heard, or help those on the margins in your ward and community. We believe that with enough people standing up and saying something or doing something to help others, we can make a real difference from the ground up. If enough people band together, we have the power to make real and lasting change for the better.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to having you join us next time in our first official episode. See you then!